And we are back for an all-new episode of Keep It. I'm Ira Madison III.
I'm Louis Fertel, and as you know, right now, I am staying at the White Lotus with everybody in America watching along. I have some worries about this season. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to get more exciting. I feel like we don't need more White Lotus after this. Am I crazy?
They are already scouting for season 4.
Okay, so I'm already wrong. Okay.
I want to say that I saw a comment on Instagram about the season, which was truly wild to me. Someone wrote that Parker Posey is doing an annoying Jennifer Coolidge impersonation. And I was like,
step
in what
off.
world?
Not once ever. Parker Posey, say what you want about her, is never imitating anybody. The original party girl? No.
Yeah, this season is, it's fun. It's a soap.
Right. Well, I mean, you know how the show works. By episode 4, things will be upside down and crazy and, a monkey will have a gun or something. Like, we have no idea what's going to happen. There's always the calm before the storm with White Lotus. I just feel like there isn't too much here so far that is novel as far as the season goes. Like, the dynamics between, like, the girlfriends are a little bit familiar. The family that's full of shit and the dad who's in financial trouble. It all feels like things we've sort of seen before. So I'm really hoping some novelty creeps into this season, especially since I am emotionally bereft because one of the greatest singers of all time passed away this week. And that would be Roberta Flack. Roberta Flack, when this woman, first of all, even though her hits are fully 55 years old, this is, the first time ever I saw Your Face is 1969, I believe, was shocked to realize she was 88 years old.
Yeah. I love Roberta Flack, and I love that everyone was. I mean, I first found out by people just sharing either the first time I ever saw your face in their Instagram stories, or just being like, "First Take is such a great album," and I was like, "Well, yeah, but like, why everybody all up in Roberta's business today?"
Leave her alone. Yes. Let her get her Kennedy Center honors and move on. Yeah.
I don't think she'd be invited anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, it used to exist, the Kennedy Center. God, we are so in for it with that. Who's going to be winning in the next couple of years? It's like Billy Ray Cyrus and the ilk.
Another song of Roberta Flack's that I absolutely love is Tonight I Celebrate My Love.
Of course.
Duet with PB, who's Peebo Bryson.
The duettest maybe of all time.
Yes. Okay.
If you're a woman and you walk past Peebo Bryson, careful. He's pulling you into the studio. Careful.
He never met a woman he couldn't make a duet with.
No, right. And it sounds like fucking on the track every single time.
When I first saw like the video that didn't have like Disney characters in it for like Beauty and the Beast, with like Peebo in it, I was like, oh, these are real people.
Right. No, it was confusing. Like Peebo Bryson and Regina Belle, that's not Aladdin and Jasmine. What's going on here?
Yeah. And Roberta Flack is just such a voice.
Oh, what I would say about her is, first of all, it's an extremely calming voice. So you would put it maybe in the same racket as like a Karen Carpenter. But then this other thing happens where it's clear as a bell and yet gives way to an incredible sensuality, which much as I love Karen, that was never her bag, So there's just some people take no time at all that sort of become famous. And she's one of them because the voice was so pure. You can't not listen to the whole song. It's so immediately compelling and so not contrived, just the purest possible talent. And of course, Killing Me Softly with the Song, which, by the way, the original version of that song, which is by the songwriter Lori Lieberman, really, really good. If you all you knew was that, you probably wouldn't think it could even be improved upon. But then, of course, Roberta's version is the standard. And she became, I think, the only person or the first person to win Record of the Year twice in a row.
I want to ask you about her song, The Closer I Get to You, with
Yes.
Donny Hathaway. Now, what do you think of the Luther and Beyonce version?
Well, Luther always I am a fan of, and also just collaborating with women, because that's some gay shit. Like when he and like Whitney are like clacking hips and singing, like that's a gay old time. I think Beyonce is always giving a good tribute to people of the 70s, like the Tina Turners, the Roberta Flacks, whatever. But I prefer the original.
I still have to see Luther the Never Too Much documentary?
Haven't seen it myself, and I've been very curious about it, especially since with him, so many people knew he was gay for so long. Like I interviewed Arsenio Hall once, and he knew at the time when he was on his show that he was gay. So there's just like a whole history there that's very fascinating.
Yeah, in between all the woo woo woo.
Right. Yes, he didn't fit in with the rest of the dog pound. You know what I mean?
I think he fit in somewhere else though. In a name at a kennel with a word we don't use in polite society.
Okay, gross. All right.
I'm just quoting the women.
Oh yeah, right. Wow. Oh my God. Wait, the Rosalind Russell movie?
Yes. Which she wants to call
yes,
them
of
bitches.
course. Yes, right. Yes. Very funny. Such a good movie. If people don't know the women with Rosalind Russell and like Joan Fontaine and Ginger Rogers, that's like among the movies that holds up the best of the 30s. And those women are bitches.
Even though it's long as hell.
Quite. Well, I mean, it's based off a play. So, of course, it has to be 1,000,000 years long.
I think most people are actually familiar with the abomination that is the Meg Ryan remake.
And that was when we decided, actually, Meg Ryan, we're voting you off the planet. You're not going to exist for 15 years.
Stay away from that movie, okay?
Yeah. There's a PBS version. They filmed a live play of it. I remember Kristen Johnston from Third Rock from the Sun is in it, and she is amazing. Look that up.
All right, what else are we talking about in this episode? Lewis, you have a solo interview this week.
Oh, yes, with the fabulous Melanie Linsky. We've been fans of this woman for, I can't believe it, over 30 years. That's when Heavenly Creatures came out. She's, of course, coming back in the new season of Yellow Jackets. People from New Zealand, do they get any sweeter? This woman is like a doll. And then, by the way, after I did this interview, I went to a preparatory dinner for the SAG Awards, and she was there too, and was just as lovely, and hung out with Jason Ritter too. What a fun little fam.
So you had a Linz Kiki.
I did. And yet she's a Linz Kiwi, being from New Zealand.
Speaking of, the SAG Awards were this week. Obviously, you wrote for them.
Yes.
So we are going to discuss the SAG Awards this week on the show. And then we are also going to be joined by fantastic writer Emily St. James to talk about her new book, Woodworking.
Now, this is going to be hard for people to believe, but in the early 2010s, there was a bit of a heyday of awesome writing online that you could, people reviewing TV, reviewing movies. And Emily was the number one, somebody I went to all the time to get her take on television. And I'm so psyched she's here with us.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I can't wait to talk about that. And we're going to talk about like our favorite TV moms with her as well, which ties in with her book, Woodworking. But the AV Club, like Television Without Pity. Like,
yes.
Like bring that shit back. You know, I feel like when you read recaps of TV shows now, and I mean, really the only shows that get recapped these days are Vulture sort of recaps everything, like the White Lotus and stuff. But I mean, mostly it's people like recapping like Real Housewives and stuff. And it's there's very few people, and these are people who are sort of like a holdover from like they used to work at Jezebel, you know, or Gawker or something, who really do like funny recaps that let you know what's going on in the show, but then are also like giving you something else, you know? I feel like it's a lost art form.
Yeah, I mean, and also they have that patina of connoisseurship too. Like you're not just watching someone, people dog on a TV show. There's a sense of knowing this stuff really well. Emily's in the pantheon with people like Emily Nussbaum or Dan Feinberg, who works at the Hollywood Reporter now. Just fabulous writers.
Yes. So we will be right back with more Keep It.
Keep It is brought to you by Factor. This year, we're taking our nutrition seriously, and Factor's chef-made gourmet meals make eating well easier than ever. They're also dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. So whether you're calorie smart, protein plus, or keto, the choice is yours. If you're not the 3-meal-a-day type, Factor can also help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. I eat 18 of these every single week. I am arguably 10 to 20% Factor meal right now. What you're seeing chemically is a pile of chicken that Factor provided.
I'm just imagining your food pyramid right now.
And me literally in the pyramid shape as I eat it. That's the $25,000 pyramid, baby. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Keep It is brought to you by Fatty 15. Have you noticed that your bones are getting old, Lewis?
Ooh, you're taking me to Emily Mortimer on 30 Rock. But what is her whole thing? I've got avian bone syndrome.
Well, if you have avian bone syndrome or you're just getting closer to 40, thankfully, we found C15 from Fatty 15, a science-backed vegan supplement free of flavors, fillers, allergens, or preservatives.
Well, let me tell you something about getting closer to 40. I am a fan of a supplement. They're easy to take. You get up, shove them in your mouth, you move on with your day. Fatty 15 is part of my essential daily package.
And you're much closer to 40 than me.
Oh, it's so interesting that dementia is coming early for you because you're older than I am. Based on over 100 studies, research shows that C15 strengthens our cells and is a key longevity-enhancing nutrient, which helps to slow biological aging at the cellular level. Not only does it slow cellular aging, Fatty 15 also repairs age-related damage to cells, protects them from future breakdown, and helps the body regulate our sleep, mood, and natural repair mechanisms that support our overall health.
By replenishing ourselves with the essential C15 nutrient, Fatty 15 effectively repairs cells and restores our long-term health. It also has 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3 or fish oil. And let me tell you something. As a Boost Mobile user, I'm always looking for cellular benefits.
Oh, and you're going to find them, damn it. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help you live healthier, longer, and you can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/keepit and using code KEEPIT at checkout.
Sunday night was the 31st Screen Actors Guild Awards, where stars of the big and small screen all paused awkwardly when they heard Carla Sofia Gascon's name.
Me too. Also, there was this sense being there, like, what if she just shows up? I mean, like, who's stopping her, really? You know what I mean? She doesn't really have like management or anything, so she kind of just could pull up in like an abandoned ice cream truck, you know?
I love that she's Stefano Demira.
Yeah, right. Pulling off the baby switch. Yeah.
It's like everyone in Hollywood is terrified that she'll show up somewhere.
Right.
And maybe she'll blow up the complex.
I mean, it's a zany time, is all I'll say.
And of course, our very own Louis Vertel co-wrote the awards. So we're going to get into your experience behind the scenes, plus the biggest moments of the night.
Yes, I was the co-head writer of the SAG Awards with Rashida Ala'i-Woha, who goes by Sheeds, a stand-up comic. She's written for a bunch of BET Awards. And the highlight for me was that Jane Fonda received a Lifetime Achievement Award. So I was instrumental in writing Julia Louis-Dreyfus's introductory speech for her. It's nice to be tasked with something I can do absolutely in my sleep. It's weird to be paid. So like, can you compile information on this strange movie goddess of the past? I'm like, oh God, I'll think to what my favorite ones are. It was a pleasure to write. And then of course, Jane Fonda herself receiving the award. I mean, is anybody better at giving a speech? I mean, truly, it's like between Jane and like Martin Luther King. Like, it's like really. You know?
She is another person who, I think I said this when Viola Davis got the Cecil B. DeMille Award. Right?
Another speaker.
I was like,
woof. Yeah.
I was like, there actually is a maybe industry for republishing like just the speeches of certain actors, like the award speeches, like events that they're at. Because Jane Fonda, man, I mean, this clip always goes viral online, you know, and it's especially now given, you know, all this like Trump bullshit with trans people right now. But this clip of her like in the 70s, like in the Castro, you know, talking about how she's supporting like the gay rights movement, you know, and like, you know, do they need your help? And she's like, they don't need my help, but that's what I should be doing right now. You know, like it's such a lovely, just matter of fact speech that she was giving in the 70s, you know,
right.
Like against Anita Bryant and all this other shit. And I think that there's always like younger people finding clips of hers online and realizing just how like down she was
from
the jump.
Down is exactly the word, because she in the 70s too, she was with Harvey Milk protesting that thing where like people could be fired from their jobs for being school teachers and stuff. So she was always like on a cellular level participating in civil rights. And of course, a decade before that, she was bringing the Black Panthers to the Oscars. This doesn't need to be explained to anybody. She's amazing. But at the same time,
I want to see that movie, by the way.
I would love to see that. Well, but also, one day you are getting a biopic of Jane Fonda. I mean, I don't know who's going to play it, but it's going to be a sprawling, strange movie. Watching her give this speech, though, I think the thing that is also just amazing about her is, in addition to being woke as she redefined it brilliantly on stage. It just means woke means you give a damn about other people. That was fabulous. How and why is she so funny? How did it happen? When Henry Fonda, you watch old footage of him, it's not yucks. Tom Joad isn't given clucky, funny. Never.
I just love how she said, like actors need to rise up, create empathy, make space in, the big tent to fight what's coming. And it's just, we had this period where it felt like actors were saying a lot of things and, like being supportive, and really trying to do the right thing circa 2020, et cetera. And I feel like now it is just very easy for everyone to say nothing, while companies are like, we're just not going to hire people who aren't white men,
Right.
And also the industry is going to start shifting, like what movies are going to start being made, who's going to be in front of the camera and behind the camera too. And I think that she is like a great person to remind people like, yeah, you control that shit, I want to say my takeaway as a viewer of the SAGs, which I still haven't really watched the entire ceremony. I was backstage with a lot of the celebrities before they went on, going on through their teleprompter feed and making small changes if they wanted to make it. But my takeaway as a viewer, as an awards obsessive, we finally now know what it sounds like when Timothée Chalamet gives a speech. It's so interesting. We think of him as like at the forefront of acting. He's always in the conversation when it comes to awards. Look at his Wikipedia for acting awards. Everything is just a nomination. Like nothing is a win. So the fact that he came up with the best actor win, and by the way, did anybody predict that? I thought it was Adrian's in the bag. It's a very crazy season in a number of categories. But the fact that he gave this speech seemingly impromptu, he did not seem very prepared for it in a cool way. He said that he wanted to be one of the greats and that it's uncomfortable to say something like that, but he listed Marlon Brando and Daniel Day-Lewis and Viola Davis and compared them to Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps. And it's weird that like 100% of the internet like agreed, say things like that. Own the ambition of what you want to do in acting. Because it also, by the way, we're sort of lacking that actor, the one who's out there just doing the Sean Penn thing of I want to be the best, Yeah, listen, I love Timmy talking his shit, okay? Yeah. First of all, he was one of the best dressed men. Like, maybe the best. Like, he looked insanely good with his mustache, with that green shirt of his, the black leather jacket. Like, he's slaying, to be honest, and giving you real actor. And speaking of that, I got something to say.
Okay. As you know, I have to listen because I'm on the podcast with you.
Did you know that you can leave comments on Spotify now on podcasts?
Oh, God, that sounds bone chilling.
Yeah. In the vein of Timothée Chalamet, some anonymous bitch wrote, Louis, please write a book so Ira can stop gloating about being an author. Game shows, Oscars, pop culture, anything. I'm begging you. No disrespect, Ira. I know you worked hard on such a fantastic book, but damn, girl. Now listen here, bitch.
First of all, but damn, girl, who could argue with that?
Now you listen here, bitch. When you work on something for 4 years, maybe you can gloat about it to your aunt if she gives a damn. Okay?
I worked on this for 4 weeks and I'll be gloating about it for years. Please.
Anyway, I feel just like Timmy now.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're owning your ambitions. Got it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is like it's a very interesting Oscar season in terms of expectations for what's going to occur, which is good because that compensates for the fact that the movies are like across the board not my favorite in any given Oscar year. So it's nice that there's this narrative to replace the prestigious one I wanted to have.
Actually, and I have a question for you now because I just played this, I felt like a grandmother on Facebook, but whenever someone does like one of those add yours prompts on Instagram or something, right? There was one with the Oscars, Best Picture, choose your favorite 10 movies, and it was from 1995 to 2024.
Correct. I have seen that meme. I am looking at it now. Now, let me say something. Best Picture, to me, is not the most sterling lineup of any given award. Like, I think
this
like
was
actress
hard.
and supporting actress are like more interesting than what I'm looking at right here. So if I had to pick my 10 favorites from 95 to 2024, I am going with English Patient. By the way, don't listen to a bitch tell you The English Patient isn't all bad. Do not fucking listen to that. Juliet, KST, Rafe, sit down.
You mean Elaine Bennis?
Yeah. Brilliant at giving speeches. Maybe the movie opinions aren't as good from JLD. Anyway, I will say Titanic. I will say Shakespeare in Love. On down to Chicago. I'll throw in No Country for Old Men. Way into 12 Years a Slave. Don't let anybody tell you that's a bad Best Picture. Everybody in it was A game. Into Spotlight, Moonlight, Parasite, and then Nomadland, which I spent half my time online defending.
My answers were Shakespeare in Love.
Of course.
The
other finds, we like him too.
I enjoy Titanic, but like I'm not like rewatching it.
I have friends who are like fucking obsessed with Titanic, and it has melted into my brain. Like I feel like I'm sort of in duty bound to that movie. And also, Kathy Bates in that movie, slay.
Yeah. Shakespeare in Love, Gladiator, Chicago. Chicago is like top tier in terms of just Best Picture wins ever.
And by the way, Renee did not win. Renee is an all-timer performance.
Yeah. The Departed.
That was okay. I feel crazy that Mark Wahlberg got nominated for that movie. He is the worst performance in that movie. Go ahead.
No Country for Old Men. The Hurt Locker.
The Hurt had been locked, and I do enjoy the film. It's like mid-tier for me. Yeah.
Spotlight.
Very entertaining. It's sort of the conclave of this year. Like a bunch of actors we trust. Sort of a lean movie. Makes a point. I think Spotlight is one of the best journalism movies ever, though, and I feel like Conclave is a pretty good movie.
Yeah. Back and forth on like 12 Years a Slave, most because like I never want to watch it again.
Oh yeah, I'm not like putting it on every Christmas.
Yeah. But you got to say 12 Years a Slave, and then Moonlight and Parasite.
Parasite, that was a banger choice. Like finally, like nobody can deny that movie is an A+ throughout. Maybe the bombastic ending is a bit much, and maybe even a little bit predictable, but everything else. It's a suspense movie. It's a family drama. It's a comedy. It has so much going on. Awesome pick.
I think it just reminds me when I look back at award ceremonies, you look back at old Best Picture winners or like what people were nominated for. You look at like Kathy Bates nominated for Misery, for instance, right? It's just like I feel like you can look at this list too of Best Picture winners from Forrest Gump to Braveheart to, like you can tell when the Oscars started shifting to what we call now Oscar bait movies, and I just feel like I like when something like Parasite, or like Chicago like fucking wins. Like it's just a banger movie.
Yeah, right. Like you would probably put it on again. I've seen both those movies multiple times. Anyway, back to the SAG Awards. Conclave won the Ensemble Movie Award. And I find that to be, I think it's a movie full of dependable veterans and people voted for that. I don't think that will qualify to be the best picture of the year. Though it feels like The Brutalist has totally fallen out of this game. At one point I thought that was for sure. Now it's maybe Anora, which weirdly came out of the SAGs with nothing.
Yeah. And I will say that before the SAGs, there were like betting odds for what was going to get Best Picture, like The Brutalist had like dropped out and also a complete unknown. But I don't know. I feel like maybe that won't win, but Timmy might be getting into the conversation now. win.
It feels like people may have peaked with Adrian Brody. That said, I can't imagine voting against him. He's so amazing in that movie. I just can't imagine it. And I also feel like Timmy's best days are still yet to come. To me, this is barely in his top 5 performances. I would still put Call Me By Your Name, Beautiful Boy, which, as you know, I am like a hard stan of. Little Women I would put ahead of this, and even Bones and All I would put ahead of this performance.
I was about to say Bones and All. He tore in that movie. That is an underrated Luca movie to me.
And he was like, it was unsavory, to put a pun on it, in like just an unexpected way. He was doing something completely new in that performance. But anyway, do you know what was fucking nice about working backstage at the SAG Awards? So I was helping people at the teleprompter, sometimes right before they went on, but like occasionally before the show. You see the people who are going to like solve all their acting problems at the teleprompter right then. John Lithgow came backstage, and he was preparing for the entire Conclave cast, introducing their clip. At the end, he says something like, "This movie is about the weight of the church's decisions." And I do mean weight, because those costumes weighed about 500 pounds, and that's before you add the jewelry, which I have to admit I stole. Okay, now that's like a comedic line. You can say it a number of ways. He stood there and he goes, "I know how I'm going to say that line." And he promised he would get a laugh out of it. And the way he delivered it was, and that's before you add the jewelry, which I have to admit, I stole. Like the way he did it was so Muppety and so surprising. It was like, wow, you are like a stage actor. You're going to like solve the reading there. Molly Shannon did a bit with Kumail Nanjiani, and she stood backstage, and every line she underlined, she would change the color of certain text. And then you realize, oh, her entire career on SNL was teleprompter or cue card based, you know? So how it appears on the card affects how she's going to say it. That was really cool to see for me.
You know who else made me laugh? Jamie Lee Curtis giving Colin Farrell his award, saying,
"Oh, yes,
this goes to the person who gave me COVID at the Golden Globes."
And frankly, she would do it again. You know that. Also, she really came in this giant feather outfit, and it was to invoke a name that's already come up this episode, Rosalind Russell. It was very old Hollywood in a cool way.
Yeah, she's angling to be in The Traitors.
Now, her energy could not be more The Traitors, and yet also I feel like it would come to violence with her in that house.
I maybe we don't need to like jump into it fully for right now, but I do wonder, yeah, obviously, you know, like celebrities are on The Traitors, right? But I'm like, what if we had like real like A-B list celebrities in The Traitors, like actors, like Jamie Lee Curtis? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like who? I mean, she and there's no other way to put it. I say this affectionately. She will have a breakdown at the table. And talk about being underestimated, and you looked at me weird, and I saw you. I mean, like, I don't know what level of star we're going to get alongside her if she does it. She doesn't strike me as somebody who's that familiar with reality TV.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Meryl Streep at the round table.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's keeping to herself, no matter what's happening. Speaking of which, I secretly am a writer for Meryl Streep. She read some copy about LA and like the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. I had to write that. So I am just like Nora Ephron, where I write it down and then Meryl reads it.
Speech writing is kind of really fun.
Oh, I agree. And it's like you can spend a lot of time getting it right, too. And then, you know, they throw in their own little voice or like take things out, put things in. It's like really pleasurable, actually.
I think my favorite one that I ever did was I wrote a speech for Jean-Marc Vallée. And I had to have several phone calls with him because he was giving an award to Laura Dern.
As he should. You know, I defend that Marriage Story win. And I have friends who hate that win.
Well, you know, I'm Team J-Lo.
Yes, that was the Hustlers year. Right.
Maybe that's the key, actually. You know, you stick like Showgirls or like, you know, like those kinds of movies, like, you know, even like a Red Rocket, you know, I think sticking actors into that are famously known for something else or something glamorous and sticking them into, you know, a weird, different, interesting world that's also just as, you know, the stakes are also big for those people is just really fun to watch. Well,
by the way, also this weekend were the Independent Spirit Awards, and Sean Baker won big at those. And I thought his speech, one of the best award speeches in the past few years, where he talked about being an independent movie lifer and how he's not making these movies as a quote unquote calling card. Like he's not trying to land some like 9-episode Marvel series or whatever where he gets paid $1 million. And he emphasized how much he likes being able to make creative choices in his movies, having total freedom. And part of that is casting who he wants to cast. And I really kind of underestimate how important that is in a director realizing their vision. Like people are obsessed with there being a casting Oscar. But when it comes to movies that have a huge budget behind them, it feels like it's almost never really about who's best for the role. It's about who is conveniently brought in because you got that other actor and you're doing a favor to this casting person or that agent and stuff. So that feels very sticky to me. Him emphasizing that a huge part of his process is casting who he wants to cast was very affirming, because when you watch his movies, those people belong in those roles.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you get into what an auteur really is. You know, it's Mike Lee selecting his actors for his film and then coming up with the film after. You know, it's I want to work with these specific people. And I love just the way, whether you love like every single Sean Baker film, I think the performances that he gets out of actors is fantastic. And I love just the people that he loves to work with.
I mean, it's weird that prior to Anora, the only person nominated in any of his movies was Willem Dafoe in the Florida Project. Obviously, he was really good in that movie. Everybody in Red Rocket was amazing. We had Simon Rex here. He was fabulous. Florida Project, the girl in that movie was so good. And then before that, Tangerine, those performances. We had a whole hubbub about how they weren't allowed in the actor roundtables that were everywhere. I mean, just truly, like they're an essential part of his unforgettable films.
Yeah. You know who else was not allowed at the actor roundtable, you know, when she was nominated for Gone with the Wind?
Oh, Hattie McDaniel. Yes,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the Hollywood Reporter said, "What you doing in here?" Right.
They said there's a smaller table over there you can sit at.
Your fountain's outside.
At the time, Hollywood Reporter was run by Michigan J. Frog, which people don't know.
When did the round table start, by the way?
That's a good question, because it feels like a pretty recent invention. I can't think of too many that seem like they were really old. It's probably like 10 years old or something.
Okay, I want to ask you then, since you're familiar, obviously, with who was nominated and who won each year. Give us a year where you would love to have seen an actors roundtable for the nominees, well, men or women.
Oh, I mean, like the year where Rachel Weisz and Kathryn Hahn are together at the table. I just truly think there is something like magically twisted about Rachel Weisz, where actually she pulls all the light in the room and people can't help but be like, you know, there's like she has like a potion quality where you're entranced with her. So I think I would just want to be there.
Yeah, I mean a classic one.
An Oscars year. I see.
An Oscars year where we did pre Hollywood Roundtable, but like you really wish one did exist.
Well, I mean, this is a standard gay guy response. But it has to be 1950 Best Actress, because you got Bette Davis, who is allergic to giving a bad quote. Has like she sits down and casually insults 80 people and is hilarious, and then brings up the marvelous Claude Rains, just like she gives you everything. But she's there with nominated in 1950 with Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard, another fabulous interview. Check her out on Dick Cavett, and Judy Holliday, who won for Born Yesterday, who allegedly had an IQ of 170 or something. So just watching the three of those girls spar and figure out who's going to win. And then because, of course, years later, Bette Davis would claim that she deserved to win. So I imagine it would get a bit catty.
Yeah. I think I'd like to watch that, too. And lastly, what do you think of Kristen Bell as the host?
Fabulous. Well, I watched her in rehearsal, and she did a parody of Do You Want to Build a Snowman called Do You Want to Be an Actor? And you would think, oh, that was written by some comedy writers. Do you know who wrote that? The Lopez's, who, the EGOT winners did that version and did all the research on the actors in it to make all those jokes. Excuse me? Like they really worked hard on that. It was very funny. Even though it was an interesting decision that she styled the whole ceremony kind of around her career, but it worked because everybody there was like such a SAG standard actor. So that really worked too. But speaking of people, to me, afterwards, I kind of just wanted to go home. I was exhausted. It was a fun ceremony. You know, a lifelong dream to write something like that for Jane Fonda, whatever. I happened to be standing at the after party next to Danielle Deadweiler. And I was like, I hate when people go up to people. I was like, I think I can earn this moment. I went up to her and I said, I just want to say that you are my favorite actor currently working. You are a genius. You were amazing in Carry On. You were amazing in Till. You were amazing in Piano Lesson. She was like, oh, thanks. She was so down and rad. And like, it's crazy that she hasn't been on this podcast yet. And she looks sensational, by the way. And that was the only nomination she got this entire season from SAG for Piano Lesson.
Let me tell you, the awards, they are dead wildin' by not nominating Danielle Deadweiler.
Oh my God. You should work in advertising. These plays on words. Oscar Wilde? No coward?
I lastly want to say too, this was not the SAG Awards, but another one of my favorite moments from an awards this past weekend was this moment with Keke Palmer, who's
I forgot to bring up her backstage. She did her teleprompter copy because she did a thing at the SAG where she said, raise a glass if you've ever been on Law and Order.
Yes.
And she was adding little jokes to it. When is this woman not fucking hilarious? It's exhausting. Like the talent is like shooting from her.
She won Entertainer of the Year at the NAACP Image Awards, and she goes up there and she says, thank you all. This is such an honor. I didn't think I was going to win, because of, and points to Cynthia Erivo in the audience. And I'm like, this woman is always funny.
It's crazy. No, it's like something genetically went wrong with her and she has like a funny syndrome. It's crazy.
We missed it during Nope that season, but like we really do need a Keke Palmer renaissance to be happening. I need her cast in so many things because honestly, I like Janelle Monáe fine, right? But imagine Keke Palmer in that role in Glass Onion.
Oof. Right. She hasn't really had the big ensemble movie, No.
We need to stick her in one of those and just like.
Oh my God, she would have been so good in that. And Janelle, of course, is one of the high points of that movie, but.
Yeah. But get her in a movie like that, a big ensemble where she can just cut loose and be funny as hell.
Okay, before I forget, something else that ruled at the SAG Awards. The cast of Anora came backstage to rehearse their patter for the presentation for the Anora clip. Now, as you know, we had Yura Borisov on this podcast. Mm-hmm. These are Russian speakers. And yes. Mark Edelstein, who plays Vanya in the movie, he is a Russian speaker. They go through the patter, and one of the words that Mark Edelstein has to say is tenacious. He goes tenacious or something like that. And then after we read it, somebody goes, do you want to change that word to something else? He goes, if it is good word, we keep it. He had never heard of it before? So funny. They're such sweet guys. It made you think that filming that movie must have been such a pleasure.
They didn't get Tenacious D over there in Russia?
I guess not. No, and they never will because they broke up.
Oh, damn you, Putin.
Obviously, the Oscars are next week. Anything could happen. It's an exciting season.
Yes. I was reminded that the Oscars are Sunday because we rescheduled my book tour event. By the way, if you're listening, the DC one, which was snowed out, I'm doing it Sunday at 3 p.m. at Politics and Prose on Connecticut Avenue with Dan Zak of the Washington Post.
Oh, one of my very, very good friends. Yes.
Yes. And he was like, bold of you to be doing this on Oscars Day. I said, oh, the Oscars are Sunday. It's pre-programming. And he said, Lewis would be extremely irritated at you forgetting that the Oscars were Sunday.
Yes, right. Dan Zak, that's a legit queen. We saw each other in Fire Island, and what did I say? I said some old lady name at him. I was like, Eileen Atkins? And he goes, Joan Plowright? Anyway, that's how gay men are greeting each other these days.
He and his brother, both extremely hilarious. Kevin Zak is also so funny. Yeah. Well, we will be right back. But before that, a few announcements.
Are your blinds still from 2005? There's a better way to buy blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery, and it's called 3 Day Blinds. They are the leading manufacturers of high-quality custom window treatments in the U.S., and right now, if you use my URL, 3dayblinds.com/keepit, they are running a buy one, get one 50% off deal. We can shop for almost anything at home. Why not shop for blinds at home, too? 3 Day Blinds has local, professionally trained design consultants who have an average of 10-plus years of experience that provide expert guidance on the right blind blinds for you in the comfort of your home. Just set up an appointment and you'll get a free, no obligation quote the same day. I walked into this office, there are 3-day blinds all over the place. I was 3-day blinded by the 3-day blinds.
Also, if you're not very handy, DIY projects can be fun, but measuring and installing blinds can be a big challenge. And the expert team at 3-Day Blinds handles all the heavy lifting. They design, measure, and install so you can sit back, relax, and leave it to the pros. Maybe with a mimosa.
No, nothing I love doing more than like task rabbiting something that does not need to be task rabbited. Honey, I don't know how to pour that orange juice. Get in here.
3-Day Blinds, you choose from thousands of options that fit any budget or style, and with actual samples, you won't be guessing about what your blinds will look like. 3-Day Blinds has been in business for over 45 years, and they have helped over 2 million people get the window treatments of their dreams. So they are a brand you can trust.
Honestly, if I'm standing in a room, blinds are the thing you're looking at, whether you even want to or not. And I find them fashionable, and the fact that they can come over and just put it all together themselves, thank God. We love 3-Day Blinds. Right now, get quality window treatments that fit your budget with 3-Day Blinds. Head to 3dayblinds.com/keepit for their buy one, get one 50% off deal on custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery. For a free, no charge, no obligation consultation, just head to 3dayblinds.com/keepit. One last time, that's buy one, get one 50% off when you head to the number 3dayblinds.com/keepit.
This podcast is sponsored by Squarespace.
Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all in your terms.
Introducing Design Intelligence from Squarespace. I sound like Taylor Swift on the Reputation tour. Combining 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. Design Intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to their unique needs and craft a bespoke digital identity to use across one's entire online presence. I love a bespoke internet identity.
Squarespace Payments is the easiest way to manage your payments in one place with Squarespace. Onboarding is fast and simple. Get started in just a few clicks and start receiving payments right away. Plus, give your customers more ways to pay with popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. Connect major social and multimedia accounts to your website in a few clicks as icons, direct links, or embedded feeds. Build visitor trust while updating content only where you need it, extending your brand's footprint. Sellers can also sync their product catalog directly with Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Google to reach more customers and reduce the steps for a purchase. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/keepit to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/keepit.
And we are back with our favorite segment of the episode. It's Keep It. Lewis, what's got your feathers ruffled?
Oh, sure. Kerfuffled, if you will. My keep it this week is to the Hollywood Reporter's cover, Blake versus Baldoni, which is, okay, I understand this is like a big scandal everybody's talking about, and it never ends. I personally kind of stopped consuming quote unquote news about this because it felt like I was just getting fed propaganda from his team or misinformation from people speculating about what's actually happening. But anyway, on this particular cover, it is, I guess, styled as a sort of David and Goliath battle where Blake has a slingshot and she's shooting something at Justin Baldoni. Now, that would be annoying enough. She's barely touching whatever she is slingshotting, and he is wearing 2 different shoes. So this is, I guess, just an AI cover that they slapped on the cover of Hollywood Reporter. Does it get broker? AI officially, if this is AI's audition on American Idol, baby, you need 3 more years before you can audition. This is so ugly, for one thing. She's holding a book for some reason. She's like, there's like a bunch of flowers coming up over her. They didn't edit this at all. This is a extremely mysterious and tacky picture. It's sort of a sexist sentiment, I think, that they're in an equal parts on some sort of duel. I just don't know what to make of this. I find it unbelievably depressing.
It took me a minute to realize the book was It Ends With Us.
Oh, holding. I see.
Yeah.
Is she flinging like a cell phone? What's in the slingshot?
Child, ask the AI.
Okay. AI, Siri, what's in that picture?
I have something to say about this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively shit that is so unnerving to me. So many people, I've realized online, are getting their information about the legalities of this case, and even some gays that I've chatted with in New York City. I mean, white people, of course, but people are getting their information on this case from Candace Owens.
No way.
Did you know this?
Well, first of all, I'm always shocked and startled to realize she is as popular as she is. She remains like in the top 10 podcasts in America or something.
Yeah. Listen, she has basically jumped onto the Lively and Baldoni train and is giving people, talking about the court cases, talking about like the intricacies, etc. Right. And so many people in the comments are loving it. And so many every time I see something elsewhere, it's like, I'm getting all my information on this from Candace, etc. And it is weirdly sinister how she has managed to shift her persona from, girl who was booed up with Kanye West at one time.
Right, I remember.
And with all the other rogues gallery who are now, working in the Trump administration or, performing ventriloquist dummy acts at CPAC. She shifted now to the Hollywood gossip thing, right? And people are jumping into that. And then she has a new post on Instagram talking about her new book that, has gone through so many publishers, and she's finally found the time to release it because now we're finally talking about toxic feminism, thanks to Blake Lively and her toxic feminism.
Oh, good.
And the book is called Make Him a Sandwich. It's about how you should be, I don't know, happy to make your man a sandwich. Like, bitch, I'm sure he's got DoorDash. Who is making sandwiches, by the way?
Who's concerned about the making of a sandwich these days? Yeah. You can just come and pick it up. They're everywhere.
Anyway, this has basically, I guess, allowed her to reshift into a new Ann Coulter or something, or what Megyn Kelly, like the space that she used to occupy before she just became, woman who screams at cloud.
I will say there is a space left open. I mean, There used to be Ann Coulter and there used to be Megyn Kelly. And though every once in a while I'll see her quote tweet somebody and then people get a little mad about that, they kind of aren't around. I never expected them to sort of recede the way that they did.
Every time Megyn Kelly comments on a pop culture thing now too, it's giving very much desperate, it's giving thirsting for air where ventilation, it's just like you're at home. You left Fox News for, you can go and watch the documentary Bombshell if you want to learn about the wigs that she was forced to wear at Fox News.
Yes, what a baffling movie. Yes.
Terrifying.
But also at the end of the day, that Megyn Kelly is Dr. Blight from Captain Planet, and nothing else needs to be said.
Well, someone needs to take the pollution down to zero, baby. Okay.
What an awesome theme. Ira, what is your keep it this week?
My keep it goes to people on my social media feed who feel the need to keep reposting this AI photo of Donald Trump sucking Elon Musk's toes.
Oh, yeah, which was apparently somebody hacked into some sort of system in Washington, and then they played this footage of him sucking Elon Musk's toes for everybody, which was quite amusing.
Now that's funny, at least, because you're at least, taking the fight to him. Mm-hmm. I just want to ask, who is this for? It's because it's not particularly funny, to be honest. It's just stupid, and it's AI, and you're sharing it presumably for your followers to see. Maybe this is just in the thing that social media gives people where it makes everyone feel like there's a celebrity and everyone is watching their feed. But it's your followers, I presume, aren't fans of Elon Musk if they're your friends and like they already hate Trump. So it's when I keep seeing this photo, I'm just asking, does Elon follow you? Does Trump or anybody from his family follow you? Like, who is supposed to fucking see this and like get the rile out of it that it was intended for? Instead, I just have to keep seeing it And I don't want to see it. It's gross.
Yeah, it's also just, it's the same, like calling him like Cheeto Mussolini or something. Like it's in the vein of like things we've heard 10,000 times. And also, not that I'm too concerned about this, but like the joke here is like, oh, they're gay for each other. Like, it's just like, we've done that a million times too, you know? So it's like, which speaks to the fact that you don't actually think just the general debauchery they're incurring is embarrassing enough. Like, what's embarrassing is if he was literally sucking on his toes. Anyway,
and let me tell you something. Ain't nothing wrong with sucking a toe.
Honey, have you seen the art on the Madonna Erotica album? I was youngish. I was like 8 or 9 years old looking at that. And I was like, she's onto something.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel weirdly like culturally, at least, you know, in gay porn, the foot thing has like come into just being like a mainstream thing now. Oh
yeah. No, you're right. You can just kind of expect it.
Yeah, like it's part of the foreplay now.
Yeah, just like you can expect somebody named like Maddox or something.
That's someone's actual name.
I'm sure somewhere. Yes.
So anyway, you know, I'm fine with the piggies going to market.
Mine are going home. Yeah.
I hope your house is brick.
So you're also the big bad wolf in this scenario? Okay. Aesop, get me out of here.
That's why she was shook. She was going to grandmother's house. She saw those feet. She was like,
tantalizing.
All right, well, that's our show this week. We will see you next week with our annual Oscars episode.